All right. Happy Valentine's Day. Gonna try this again. Round two. Ain't nothing better than running on Indian time. So we're gonna try this one more again. Gave Auntie some time to fix some strong uncle tea for tonight. She's gonna need it. All right, let's see if we can do it. I'm gonna go ahead and add you first before I do my intro. Let's see. Oh, hi, Linda. Okay, invite. Sent. Let's cross our fingers. All right. Come on in. Come on in. We were a little late, but we're just running on Indian time. It's fine. It's fine.
Hey,
That's how we take our land back, right?
you know, unexpectedly. Yeah.
Unexpectedly. Hey, that's the only way, I think. All right, welcome to Skoden Talks, everyone, on this Valentine's Day special. I'll go ahead and do my intro, and then we'll introduce our guests. IP3 is an organization that provides nonviolent direction action training, campaign strategy, and community organizing tools to support Indigenous communities taking action in defense of their homelands. For more information about IP3 or to send community training requests, you can visit the website ip3action.org or contact info@ip3action.org. All right, so I'm excited. It's Happy Valentine's Day. I mean, I usually don't celebrate, but I was like, I'll just go ahead and wear red just for kicks and giggles.
You brightened up, you're looking very radiant.
Looking for uncles tonight at the casino.
I'll say happy Captain Cook Day.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
From the Hawaiian,
Oh, yeah. I just read that. Mm-hmm. We'll get into it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and a little bit of your background.
Panote, naha no toka Victor. Hola, ¿cómo estás? My name is Victor. Hello, everybody. My name is Viktor Ortix. I'm an artist and community organizer here in Caddo, Comanche territory, otherwise known as Dallas, Texas. I've been doing art for the past 10 years, creative resistance trainer for probably since Standing Rock. So I think it's going like 6-7 years. And just opened up a studio and community center here in Dallas last March. So things are going pretty good here, and just trying to, build solidarity, community out here, different artists and things like that.
Is there a big community that supports you, like the Indigenous community?
The Indigenous community here is kind of like spread out. It's we have some Chickasaw, some Choctaw, Comanche folks in Oklahoma. They kind of come down. And we're definitely trying to build the gap between like the Mexica people from like Mexico, the Chichimeca, the Apache, Raramuri. There's a bunch of different tribes south of the border. Excuse me, my dog was breathing in my face. And we're just trying to, try to bridge those gaps, because for a long time, I guess there's been kind of like some divisiveness between like northern and southern tribes. And so we're just trying to build that together in this community, and it's happening, slowly but surely. Like, we're invited to the powwows now to do our ceremonial dances, and we're recognized as Indigenous peoples as well, as opposed to being like, oh, those are just Mexicans wearing feathers, So it's definitely getting there.
It's definitely interesting to watch, because I went to a powwow this past 2 weekends, and I definitely noticed more Indigenous people from Mexico to come around and actually like get to be showcased and show us their talents and their dances. And I was like, this is so beautiful. And like, they just fit right in, and there was no separation. There was nobody talking mess. So I was like, this is how it should have been in the first place. So yeah. I definitely see it. I mean, it's part of land back.
Right.
Yeah. What are all the people or places and things that have influenced you as a person?
People, places, and things. Well, I guess growing up, so Dallas is a really weird place. I was born and raised here. So it's a landlocked. Like, there's no real nature, there's no real fresh water, there's nothing but concrete and buildings and, small houses here and there. So when I was younger, we went to Central Texas to visit family, and there was like streams streams and rivers and trails, and I was just really, that's like land, right? And so that really kind of inspired me to be more connected to nature that way. And my uncle, he's telling me about our heritage and how we're part Comanche and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, whoa. So, that lineage of, I guess, like connection to land when I was younger really influenced me. And then, so definitely my family, and definitely going back to Mexico, like where my grandparents are from. They're from San Luis, Matehuala area, and that's like the Peyote Mountains. So it was like being connected to that land as well, and just being recharged, being influenced by the Mexican side and the Chicano side and the Mexica side when I got older, and then starting to decolonize more, the programming that kind of really influenced me, and the people that I meet that have also suffered through the diaspora of disconnection from their indigenous roots. That's always like refreshing to, it's like, oh, yo, like we do this. I was like, yo, we have some same languages, like, yeah. So anyone, like even you, like I'd love to get to know you more and just be inspired by you to do more, to do more work, to look more fly, say, I see with the pump, like, so,
Oh, this whole thing, I just dusted her off like 30 minutes ago.
Still fresh, though. Still fresh. Yeah.
And also, I want to go ahead and open up the door for our guests. If y'all have any questions for him, just type them in the comments, and then we'll get it to him as soon as we can. So, but yeah, how did you get involved in activism?
I guess like in high school, I was really like active with immigration reform. Because again, I think like at an early age, before I understood colonization, decolonizing, like I just didn't think it was right that people were being deported for being from like another space. That's technically all of our spaces, because before borders, there were free lands that we all migrated to and traded to, right? So I think at an early age, I kind of understood that. Sorry, my dog's here. Hello, bye. And yeah, I started getting organizing with this group. It was Fair Immigrant Rights Movement, FIRM. And I started, I guess like the early 2000s, just kind of getting involved in how they operated, what they were doing, what they were advocating for. So I really got started with immigration reform. And then life happened. I kind of got caught up in school and just the college life for a minute, so I kind of put that on the back burner. But
there's nothing wrong with that. Education for our indigenous people is so important.
Yeah, and I'm an advocate for it too. Like, even if it's a skill that you're learning, it's important to learn something, And from there, I guess Standing Rock had happened, and I was just like, wow, what's really going on? Like the internet can only show you this much, but when your feet are on the floor, you can connect and kind of get some information from folks. And that's when I went and dropped off supplies, and then went again the second time. And then I was just determined to stay and to contribute. And I was like, well, I can do artwork, so like at least I can do something besides chop wood and cook and clean and everything. And
it's so crazy now that everybody thinks that we were crazy for trying to protest that, and now we've got like one of the biggest oil spills going on now, and it's like, we tried to tell y'all, but do they listen?
No. That's, I gotta hit them in the pocketbooks, because it's profit over people with them. So that's the one thing that divesting, that's the big one right there, divestment. And this is Sochi. So
Hi, doggy.
She's gonna be running in and out. Okay, thank you. All right,
he's like, I need my camera time too.
I'm saying, fine, get up there. Go.
Can you speak more of your specific artist aesthetic?
I would say it's like contemporary with indigenous roots and connection, for sure. So yeah, like again, I guess in college I was like, oh, this is like my people. I'm Aztec, and like I started doing history on them. Like, oh, we're Mayan, and then again, since there was that disconnection throughout my lifetime, throughout 2 generations technically, because people would assimilate to the Mexican or Aztec or Mexican more than anything, because being indigenous in Mexico is like that's not something people would talk about. They would hide it to protect themselves. So that, like, I kind of understood. I was connected to the indigenous roots, thinking Aztec was the only thing there was. But as time progressed and I educated myself more, my family's history, like our geography, our physical features, how we talk, how we approach each other, I was like, oh, wow. Like, so we are these people. We're from like the northern central Mexico, not from like where the Aztecs are. Totally different nations, but you know, there's some intersections there. But then I started to understand more of like my art is influenced by that. So those stories and those icons that we all kind of share, like the deer, the blue corn, ants, skulls. You know, we all have an understanding of death and transcendence. So I kind of use that too. And yeah, it's always influenced by it.
Urban Hood said, I hung out at the art tent at Standing Rock too, lots of screen printing. Did you have any of your screen prints there at Standing Rock?
No. Yeah, I had a couple. Stop. Sorry, she's. Oh my God. This thing. Yeah, we had. I brought a couple out there and printed a few. And I think there's one was like an anonymous mask with a headdress. And I was just like, oh, trying to bring some anarchy with some indigenous, you know, icons. And I was like, now that I look back at it, I'm like, I could have done that a little differently. But you know, at the time, I thought it was something worth.
I think anything in that time and place has its own timestamp, and it was meant to be.
No, stop. Sorry, jeez.
Oh, you're okay. What is the symbolism, and how has your ancestral lineage influenced your work?
Yeah, again, so it's just starting to decolonize and understanding our symbols and being in ceremony. I try to incorporate more medicine symbols instead of just like shock and contemporary like aspects of like, whoa, this is that, and this is colorful, and this looks nice. I'm trying to put more medicine into the work that I do nowadays because, yeah, we need it. I mean, like icons say a lot, and that iconography, symbols, we all have conch shells, we all have wind symbols, and they all mean different things with different colors. And I started studying the codices and understanding how they told their stories. And it's like, well, how do I tell our story now? Picking up where like my inspirations and ancestors left off, you know, like that's still an art form. So I do technically like do 2D things and try to incorporate some newer concepts, but also try to keep true to the form and color and the symbols and the stories that they tell. Yeah.
Let's see. Can you share any prints or work?
Yeah. Actually, I got some, so I can pull them out. Like this was some of the stuff that was made in the arts tent. Oh, move that upside down. And the Standing Rock arts tent.
Ooh.
I think it's Jackie Fan. And then this one was like the Dignidad Rebelde. So this is some of the stuff that we were printing, and we would print for 12 hours a day sometimes. And then that's no apple.
I love that.
Yeah. So these are going to go into the Smithsonian one day.
I can't wait to finally go. I get to go in June, so I'm
wow.
excited. Hopefully I get to see some of your pieces there.
Well, it was a collective. I was just the hands. Other people designed them, you know? And so I won't take credit for work that's not mine. Yeah. But I was definitely honored enough to make it with people, to build community and to kind of like, this is a cool one, like Black Snake, was that all the hands taking it down.
Have you tapped into any like artwork that has to deal with the boarding school issues that we're dealing with now?
I haven't been approached with it. And, you know, that's one thing is I learned was like, an elder told me once, is like, don't step in front and assume that you're going to be helping people, because you have to allow them to have their voice and their power. And so it's just sit back and wait until someone approaches you, and then you can show up, you know, or bring something to the table, you know. And I think here, like in Texas, like I've been more focused on like the immigrant rights, the indigenous rights here for the folks that are migrating, and the atrocities that they're going through, the abortion bans here in Texas. Like there's always so much, to cover without becoming like fatigued. What is it? My friend calls it awareness fatigue, with so much going on, to like want to create artwork, to be inspired to put medicine into what we're creating for folks. So it's definitely been in the back of my mind. It's just, again, waiting for someone to approach me about it.
Has it gotten any better for Texas? I know they were starting to bus people towards the Washington area. Has it been effective, or is it still bad, or?
It's still pretty bad. And the thing is, like, this is one thing that that doesn't get talked about very much, is like the murders of indigenous people that cross the border. Exactly. Like, people don't understand, like, they're undocumented. People don't know that they're crossing. And there's vigilantes out there that do take the law into their own hands because it's on their property. And there's unmarked graves that, like, when I was working with the immigrant rights reform, they had maybe like 20 unmarked graves, at some site. And this was back in like 2000, 2004. But it's those things that, like, there's so much going on, and for the most part, it seems like these Republicans or these conservatives or these white folks don't consider these people as human beings. Like, they're crossing to fulfill their destiny and their migrational pattern and escape imperialism and capitalism, and they don't see them as people. And so it's always really tough, and it's also what inspires my work, to kind of educate folks here, and not even educate them, just hold space for that to come naturally, because I can't say what's right or wrong. I can just say how I feel, what I feel, express it through art.
Yeah.
And so it's tough.
I couldn't even imagine. I did not even think that or realize that until you said it. And I was like, they don't. And like, honestly, the only reason why I asked is because I really haven't seen too much coverage of it since then. So I was just I was wondering, but my thoughts and prayers for everyone out there, for all of our indigenous people, just trying to find home again.
Yeah. And the same thing for the animals too. Like, the jaguars are like endangered because of the border wall, because they migrate from Arizona to Mexico. That's like their migratory pattern. And so because of these border walls, they can't come in and out freely.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's another reason I try to use animals and iconography and artwork to kind of keep the spirit of the animals alive. So it's not just people, because we're all connected, right? Especially as indigenous folks, like, we all have our we call them walis, like our spirit, for lack of a better term, like spirit animal, our connection to these messengers from spirit that connect with us, So I try to incorporate their artwork too. And like here's one. Probably can't see it, but it's like a jaguar.
Ooh, I love that.
But it's also like a paletero, like an ice cream vendor. So I was doing stuff for like the street vendors here that needed some support, things like that. So just trying to do what I can.
I love that one.
I'll mail it to you.
Yeah. Can you share more about the work or mission of Mi Barrio?
Mi Barrio? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Well, it's like a DIY spot that I opened up in March with the intentions of making a community center here in the hood. And Mi Barrio is like slang for my hood. And so 214 is our area code here in Dallas. And the idea behind that was, I grew up in this neighborhood. So I know it's really rough, like drugs and violence, and like it's just a hard area. And so traveling around the country, I got the opportunity to work with different community organizations, be in community spaces, co-op spaces where people support each other. They have free libraries, free resources for like Planned Parenthood, food pantries. And I was just really inspired by that because, Oakland, DC, New York, Portland, I'm like, wow, these are all collectives of community building together, and not just for my peer group, but for like the younger generation, so they can come to a place and feel safe and educate themselves and decolonize. Like, that's like, I want to paint it on top of the building, but I can't because that might be too hot, Well, I just might, But yeah, it's like, you know, being in all these progressive spaces and places, I was like, why don't we have this here in Dallas? And like the same thing is like, if I had that growing up, my education would have been different, and not like schooling, but my outlook on life. I probably wouldn't have gone down like the rough road that I went down, or like I saw friends get into, to have an outlet instead of like selling drugs or like vandalism and like stealing things, you know? And it's just like a community space. We have a small library, we have an art gallery, we have things for sale, we have classes that we teach. We host immigration classes for like anyone that needs legal counsel. We have food pantries. So like these small things that I don't know why we never had before. I'm just trying to build that with community members here, and really try to leave something for like the next generation, because I was an odd kid. I was a little weird growing up, and it would have been nice to have like a safe place to like just hang out with friends, be sober, and just like be weird, you know?
And
And just like,
honestly, I feel to keep us suppressed and keep us under control instead of helping us, it was just a tactic to keep us down. And I too share that same thing. And I wish I had resources growing up, but I feel like our next generation, they're getting a little bit more help because of people like you and I doing our little work here and there. But along with that. That center that you've got, what does decolonization look like in your eyes?
that's a heavy one, because the concept of it is almost foreign, you know, because it's been 500 plus years of oppression. So it's like, what does that look like? To me, the first thing would be like the environment. Like, if there's clean water to drink, that is number one for me. Like, if I could go into a stream up the street and just scoop and drink like fresh water, whoa, you know, because water is the womb that we came from. That's where we boiled out of, you know, from like millennia, you know, like that's why water is life, because it gives us life. So I think that's like a big one. It's like clean air, clean water, access to food that we can grow, indigenous foods that are common to us, our diet, because a lot of it, I think decolonization is like decolonizing your diet. Because I know everybody loves beef, but that's not us, you know. Like we were lean and getting it, because you know we're getting buffalo, rabbit, deer, elk, like all the game. And I think also, you know, decolonizing our diet's a big one, because we all know that with food insecurity also leads to educational problems, malnutrition, development of the brain. So I think decolonizing the diet is a big one. Community spaces where folks can have prayer circles, healing ceremonies, healing circles, because a lot of times this justice thing people preach about is Western. It's all, it's all, you know, you did something wrong, so you will suffer from it, as opposed to indigenous practices. Someone did something wrong, you need healing. Let's work on this together, because that's what we do. That's what we did. But if you continue, you know, then yeah, you gotta kind of scoop.
Yeah.
But you know, but yeah, it's like bringing like the migratory flowers back for the, what is it, the butterflies, the monarch butterflies. Like they're starting to go extinct because their flowers aren't producing as much.
I, I think I saw one during the migration last year, and that was so sad.
Right.
Like, usually it's beautiful in the fall time, and just one. And that was on the highway, and hopefully that it made it. But I was like, usually they are just everywhere. And they said the flowers here in Oklahoma, they're almost non-existent. So
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, we got to do better as a indigenous community, because I'm not sure about the rest of the world and what they got going on and what their progressive ideas will be like. But I know, like for myself, I do want to get to clean water, clean air, clean food, access, and, you know, security in those ways, and to work with the land and to work with nature in that way. Because I think for myself, I consider myself as a human being very self-centered. What do I want as a human? What do I need as a human to survive and thrive? And I have to check that sometimes and consider like, what about the birds? What about the fish? What about like the little insects, you know, the whole medicine wheel of animals? And see, and this is, thank you, I would say, because I don't have an opportunity to really talk about this sort of work with folks outside of my indigenous, you know, circles, you know, because here in Dallas, it's very, what's the word? It's very capitalistic. It's a very make money city, and it's a metropolis, so nobody really considers the broader spectrum or where we come from, you know? So thank you for that. You know,
Thank you for being with us too. I mean, we enjoy these stories too. Everybody's been high-fiving and saying yes, so we enjoy it too. What are some upcoming events that you have going on?
Let's see, we'll be having, I think, like a punk metal show this Thursday, depending on the weather. So we do try to open up more towards music venue as well, offering the space for touring bands to come in. And, you know, we all have some angst too, so it's a good way for us to kind of work it out, you know, in a safe space, you know. And then, like, getting your shit rocked and then like, okay, you're good though. Like, yeah. You know, I just had to get rocked a little bit, you know. Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm done. I'm good.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna sit down.
I need water.
Like, hey, go check on your friend, you know. Like, yeah. So we'll have that. Hopefully, we'll have that show here Thursday. We have another event next Saturday. It's going to be a graffiti event. We're painting portraits. We're painting murals on the outside of the building. Someone's donating a van to paint, so they're going to be doing some live painting on a van. We're going to have a portrait-themed art show, so we'll have photographers, illustrators, and painters having portraits around the space. And then we're going to be doing a Black History Month appreciation post with other artists and musicians around Dallas that either we're inspired to work with or that we've worked with in the past, to show our appreciation for them as artists and as people of color, and give them a platform to get some more recognition there. We were trying to plan out an art show, but with timing, it was just a little bit of a challenge. And then we'll also have a community print night where people have an opportunity to print their own designs. And we have a game night. It's a sober space, so people can bring drinks if they want. It's not, you know, you don't have to drink to be here. I'm California sober, so I don't drink. And, you know, it's just like a good time. Like, people will just laugh, and you would think, like, what are y'all on? So it's like, yo, we're just in the vibe right now, and you can be in this too. And
do you have like a big turnout, or is it still kind of small?
we probably, I think at the most, we've had about 12 people for like the game night. We have like a movie night next Friday, or it's this Friday. Yeah, this Friday we'll have a movie night. And again, it's like no charge. We just want people to kind of come and be in a communal space and, you know, get to know each other. Like, that's what it should be. Like, we shouldn't have to spend money to be in the social spaces and to connect and to like experience each other in life. That's like a very
get back to the old days.
You know, like, I want to have like a listening party. You remember those? Like, have a record, be like, okay, like, shut off all your phones. We're just gonna drink and eat and just listen to the album, you know? Like,
we do that with the old radio.
Sure.
Urban Hood said, I like what you said about decolonizing. I know that the Cherokee have huge chicken houses and they are investing in that. Can you talk about land back divorces from culture and language?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I can speak for our people. Like, a lot of our language was lost over the past 500 years. And my family too, like, they integrated into Spanish speaking as a way of self-preservation. And so to get back into a Chichimeca language it's still something that I'm learning. But I am learning Nahual, which is a trading language that goes from like southern Mexico all the way up to Canada. And like chocolate, that's a Nahual word. Coyote, you know, that's another Nahual word. And so, like, just learning like the intersectionalities between tribes in a language It's work, but it's definitely, you know, going in the right direction. And as far as decolonizing, like for food, like rabbits is good source of protein, and we all kind of harvest
Not
rabbits.
rabbits. I'm Rabbit Clan.
Well, you know, we'll give you a shout out, be like, you know, honor your folks and their sacrifice.
To Auntie Sage.
Hey, right? I'll keep this one. This one will be Auntie Sage checking in, you know, because I think that's another thing too with like factory farming. It's like very, very like disconnected from the soul and the essence of the animal, as opposed to like how we would hunt. It's just like, yo, you were lucky if you caught something, and now you better really appreciate that, you know.
And like in my tribe, the Shawnees, we hunt squirrel and raccoon, and whatever else when we're out in our ceremonies, whatever animal comes to sacrifice themselves, they're supposed to take too. So my brother said, we almost had a pig. I was like, a pig? And he's like, yes, this boar come running at us, and right when we was about to shoot it, it darted off, and so it took off. So it said, never mind.
It's just mine. Yeah.
What other work do you have in the community, and are you still dancing?
Other work in the community. Yeah, I'm working with the city of Dallas right now to do some things with like the youth here. Yeah, so especially in my area, like we're District 5, and we get like really low funding for any projects, for any kind of community thing. So I'm working with my city officials in this district to do more classes here, to do food distributions, to do more community murals, things like that, to get the kids engaged and involved, and to get them out of this hood mentality that's here, and to get out of like, my goal is to do two things with youth, is to get them out of this pipeline to prison and this hood mentality, and also to get them out of this whole transphobic, homophobic, machista like attitude and perception of life, because that's not it, baby. It's not, you know. And like I grew up in that, and I got out of that. It took some time, and I also want to keep that door open for youth to be like, I feel different. Well, that's okay, you know. And you can feel different, and you can be different, because you're like, I'm different. I don't know what kind of different I am. I'm just different. But you know, it's like I'm that Theo, that uncle that's just like, oh, okay, that's cool. Do you want some water? Are you hydrated? Are you safe? Right? And so, you know, just being like, it's okay to be different, to be yourself, to express yourself in however way you want to. And if you don't feel safe at home to do that, then you can come to like a space where you can just kind of unravel, you know, like a healing, safe space. And not just this space. I want to open work with like the library and different community spots, like rec centers here in this area. So I'm working with the city with that. I'm continuing to do art shows, working on some stuff in Phoenix that I haven't really, keeping that on the low down right now until I can actualize it. Yeah, just kind of, you know, under the radar for now. And still do stuff here, like do more.
Call it the Jaguar journey.
Hey, I like that. Sochi, remember that.
Write it down.
Her little paws are just like in the back. But yeah, you know, doing more stuff here in the shop. We're gonna do like some plant workshops when the spring opens up. Do plant swaps. One of the members of the collective, she does tarot readings, so they're gonna have like a tarot night where they just talk about cards and metaphysics and stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'm down. You know, I'll sit in. You know. She also wants to lead a Pride art show in June, and so I'm gonna help facilitate with that. You know. And just kind of, again, like, I know my part is just to sit down sometimes and just be like boosting, you know, that's all I can do. And that's like, sometimes that's all I want to do is just like, I'm in the back making stuff. If you need me, let me know. And I'll work.
That's the auntie and uncle job now. We got to uplift.
Right.
Landa Lake said, how do you find your space? Where would one look?
You can find us on Instagram. There's a link on my bio. You'll see the @ on the Viva Arte. That's a Mi Barrio 214 on Instagram. And yeah, from there you can just shoot us a message, and someone will respond to you if you wanna work with us in the future or anything like that. And we're also open collaborations, any ideas, thoughts, feedback. So we're also open to community dialogue. So, just reach out to us anytime. And also in the future, we plan on doing just more pop-ups around the city and bringing awareness of like artists that we represent and giving other artists an opportunity to have visibility. And like so far that's happened. Like one of the artists, she's Korean and Mexican, of Korean and Mexican descent, and she got featured in like a big gallery because like someone saw her work here and they're like, hey, we want to put you on a show. And so it's like those opportunities probably wouldn't have happened so fast. It took me 10 years to get into that gallery, and within like 3 shows, like I'm so happy for it, Wow. Yeah, just because like I don't know why people are so gatekeepy. It's like we should just kind of uplift each other. Yeah.
Sometimes you just can't. Well, you can unteach teachings, but you've got to accept it first and be like, hey, open your eyes to this.
Check this
out. Oh, are you still dancing?
Oh yeah, I still do Aztec dance. We're doing a lot this past couple months because we're preparing for a lot of ceremonies this year. So yeah, I think today up until so 3 times this week we'll be practicing.
Wow.
And yeah, we really take our roles in the calpuli, like our circle, we take them really seriously, but not to the point where we shun people away from coming. So if anybody ever wants to do Aztec dance, Danza Azteca, like we encourage you to come out. It's an open door. You get to learn some more of our culture, some of our dances, songs, and language. And, it's like, it's prayers for everybody, We just ask that people show respect, to the best of their capacity. Because sometimes we don't know we're being disrespectful, Like one time we're at a powwow and an elder from another nation was like, hey, women aren't supposed to carry the gourd in our circle, and we didn't know that, But we said, oh, okay, we respect your home, and we apologize, we didn't know. And it was like in that moment it was a teaching for everyone, but it's also on humility and respect. And I think a lot of the time, like, there's one thing I noticed with the younger generation, there's not much of that. Everybody's really angry, and I've been angry too. I was an angry little anarchist punk, fool.
I blame the movie Angry Birds. I call them all Angry Birds now.
I get it because they're like, eh. Yeah.
But Evelyn said, Vic is great. Learning from him is so fun. What's your fave danza? Oh,
that's one of my my calpuli members. My fave right now is Antigua. It's a really fast dance, so like I like it. And what's interesting too is like there's also like a song about the deer, the venado. And so like, yeah, I love that one too. It's very feminine but it's very masculine and it's very strong. So it has like, it's parts where we like march real proud like the buck, but we're also like very playful like the dawn, or the fawn. And it's like, and it's both, because like it's energy that we're doing. And so I really like that one too.
Is your dances seasonal or do y'all dance all year round?
We take a break towards the end of the year. I think we've taken the past 2 months off, like 1 month for the holidays, after like the winter equinox, is it? Yeah. So we'll kind of stop after that, because the same thing, like in nature rests, it has its rest period. So should we, and to my understanding, we have our time to rest and to hibernate and to reflect and to kind of go inwards. And then we start picking back up towards the spring.
Just hibernate and let those rabbits regenerate.
Yeah.
Trying to take them out. Poor things.
Like they sacrifice, it's not like without dignity,
I have a short story. We was headed to my show last week and this rabbit darted out in front of us, and then we were like screaming, and then this huge owl comes and hits the car, and we were like, so we saved the rabbit.
Yeah.
But the owl didn't make it. So we had to go put some tobacco down for her. Like, sorry, girl. What's in the dreamscape that you hope to manifest personally and or professionally?
Um, See, personally, I would like a rest day, but like not in a sense of like, oh, I don't have work. No, I want like to get back into hiking, to like turning off the phone, breathing in fresh air for a few days, drinking clean water, like no static. If I can, no airplanes, just maybe go back to Hawaii, go surfing. I got the hood pass in Hawaii, so I'm really looking forward to going back there. But that's like personally, like I would like a rest day from all the work. Um,
That's what I love about our ceremonies is you like shut off from the world and then you're just around family and good food and
mm,
just good vibes, and then I'm restored and then I can take on all the crazy rabbit
yeah.
eaters.
One time, to be honest, I haven't had that.
I will not. I'm be like, which our Mexican Kickapoo relatives, I had dog one time
Mm-hmm.
on accident. I didn't know it, but it tastes delicious.
Mm.
But my auntie came over. She's like, you know what you're eating, right? And I was like, don't tell me. Let me finish. So I ate. I was like, okay. She's like, you know that puppy that was running around? And I was like, oh. I was like, no. I was like, well, he had tender meat, so.
It's a sacrifice. Yeah.
Is there a traditional dish that you cook or that you like to partake in?
For the most part, I'm vegetarian minus game. So I do like the buffalo, the elk, and deer and things like that. So that's like traditional. I would like to eat that mostly. But I do like to make like the Three Sisters. So like the corn, the squash, and the beans. And I like to kind of make like a good stew out of that and serve it up. And yeah, that one and nopales, like cactus. I like to make like cactus tacos.
I've never tried
Yeah,
that.
and what's really I learned like if you drizzle them with honey and then you like grill them, they just so good.
Ooh, that's how I like my squash and stuff. I grill it on the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, so
Yep,
good.
I know. Yeah, we'll talk. You're in Oklahoma, then I'll come visit. We'll cook. Yeah.
Well, I was fixing to say, so I know you do murals. Is there anything recent or is there anything in Dallas or Fort Worth we should check out?
The murals, not so much. I've been kind of dabbling into it on my own time before I kind of hit like the streets with it and try to get some stuff up. So nothing yet, but this year I do plan on getting some stuff up.
Well, I'm a tall gal. I'll be down in DFW this weekend. I can put you on my shoulders if you
Hey,
need the height. Height. What else would you like people to know about you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of a private person, to be honest. Like I just prefer to do my work and just live my life, and sometimes there is a lot of eyes on me, and I'm just like, I get kind of like, why are you looking at me? I'm just working. But I mean,
Because, I
I
mean,
know.
honestly, the work you do, they're going to look because not many people do that or care to look outside of their household and worry about their neighbor or just the person out in the middle. So, yes, thank you for your work. Thank you for all that you do. And definitely get some rest for yourself, at least once a month, at least. Like, I try to do that for myself. I'm like, you know what? I got to get away from it all because I get wrapped up in my own self.
Mhm.
And so I understand that totally.
And that was a good reminder about the ceremonies, though, like because I do feel recharged. Like it's like a little boost, but whenever I'm like disconnected and in nature, it's just like it cleanses. Like it does its own medicine. But yeah, that's a good reminder about the ceremony.
I always tell everybody, like, when we do ours, we are sacrificing our sleep and our food and our water. And
Hmm.
so once you're like dancing for hours, you've got that sense of euphoria over you. And after you get past that, it's like a calm release and it's like everything goes silent and then you get to like start over again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that about ceremony. I was like, everybody wonders why I do it or go so far to do ceremonies, but it's so worth it. It's so worth your spirit regaining that centeredness.
Yeah.
Um,
And yeah, it's the same. We don't eat or drink when we're doing danza, like when we're in ceremony, and we'll be going like 4, 5, 8 hours, and it's just like you're hurting, and it's just like life. Like life hurts sometimes, but you keep in the ceremony, you keep in prayer because, you know, I'm also, I don't talk about it too much, but I'm also a sun dancer. And so it's about sacrificing of yourself. It's about sacrificing for others because we take on that burden, you know, and not many people understand that and what that means. But it's like, because my life will only mean so much if I can't affect my family first. If I can't heal the past 7 generations of trauma and colonization for the future 7 generations. So yeah, I'll be hungry. I'll hurt. I'll be uncomfortable. That's fine, you know.
But it's so worth it once you finally taste that water again, or even just that little bit of a soup or something. It doesn't have to be something flavorful, but it is so refreshing. Like
watermelon.
Oh, yes. Watermelon and cantaloupe. I love it.
I know.
How can we help uplift your work? Is there anything, like you said, we can follow you on your page? Is there any way we can like also, if we want to sponsor you or send y'all some water or just whatever? And
here I am again. So we have a food pantry in the front. I highly suggest if folks would want to donate some funds to that, they can. You know, anything, if they want to donate to the shop, they can. It's just to keep the lights on. I don't make money with this place.
And what kind of items do y'all really go for the food pantry?
Dry goods, canned foods. We have a clothing rack too for the, you know, for baby clothes, undergarments, small jackets, coats, and it's surprising how much it needs to be restocked because that shows me the need for these things in this community, for my community, because I was born and raised in the area, you know, so it's just like, wow, like this is the right thing to do because clearly, you know, I saw a pregnant woman the other day. She went in and grabbed some things out, and I was like, I'm glad this is helping, you know. And so if folks want to donate, there, I'll probably put a link on the Mi Barrio page or anything like that. I think it is actually in our link tree, our Cash App and Venmo, and just, you know, you can tag us and put what you would like to donate for. Again, like I would just prefer like people help people instead of help the shop. If you want to help the shop too, that's fine. But like we really just want to keep that food pantry stocked and have medicines available, hand warmers for folks, especially with like the crazy weather. Like what I'll do sometimes is I'll drive around town and give out hand warmers and socks, and so people have the option to do that too. And that makes work easier for me because I don't have to stress about it and worry too much, and then I can just continue working on other things, you know.
Well, is there anything you'd like to highlight or plug? Like you got your concert coming up on Thursday, and any other artwork stuff to check out with you?
We have another art show next Saturday, and then the 18th of March is going to be our 1-year anniversary for the shop. So encourage people to come out to that. We're going to have some lowriders, Aztec dance. We'll have some cumbia. We'll have you know, some more artists, some more vendors, stuff like that. And oh yeah, if anybody has any access to zines, we would love to have them because we do have like a small zine shelf that we're trying to stock up, so people have access to things like that. And anything pro-abortion, like we would also like to have that because I'm willing to go out there and just have information for folks because it's, first of all, it's freedom of the press, and also it's like freedom of speech. So if anybody has anything they'd like to share, then, you know, please send it our way because we believe like access to information should be free and resources because we are a community and we should not have that for folks, you know, especially if it's like there's enough of us here. So yeah, I mean, we have the 1-year anniversary of the shop would be next month, and then I do a weekly dance party every Saturday, and so I do a lot. So if I look tired, it's because, you know, lack of sleep and too much caffeine.
Oh,
you know?
You look great. Well, guys, we have came to the end of our interview. I'm sad. I want to talk more, but it is our time to go. Thank you again so much, and thank you for all the work that you do. You're amazing. I love your stories. Hopefully we can meet up again, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. And if you have any shout outs you'd like to give, or if you want to, do some platform building for yourself, like there's some people watching, say.
Okay. Well, I'm down. All right, guys. Thank you again for another episode of Skoden Talks with Their Homies with your host, Auntie Sage. We will see you next time.